this Cold War can break into hot war at any time. DPRK is the longest, DPRK war, U.S. war against DPRK is the longest conflict that U.S. has been in. So every year, a couple times a year, we have major rallies in front of the White House, and there's always the anti-nuclear tent, very iconic. I saw some of the pictures inside the truck, and there were some Korean people with like Korea peace signs in the pictures. I also used to work at a Korean travel agency before joining as a full-time organizer for Korea Peace Now Grassroots Network, which is my current organization. And when Concepcion passed away, many of our tour guides were calling the office, letting us know of this news before it was out in the news, in the major news. So that's my vivid memory of that, and always the tent welcoming our protesters and putting out peace signs when we're there. That's my fond memory. And even in the cold days, even during COVID, I remember seeing the tent and just standing there, and yeah, it was very heartwarming and great solidarity, and just amazed at the diligence and persistence everybody has proceeded on beyond Thomas and Ellen. Thank you.
By the way, you don't call them tents. That's illegal.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I spent 3 months in Lexington, Kentucky Federal Penitentiary because they said that we were camping. The war about camping went on for quite a while, but Thomas was the legal person. I had been a legal secretary, so I could type up what he wrote, but he was the one with the brains. And he managed to fight them off. The regulation writers and the people who wanted to stop the vigil. Of course, I can understand why they might have wanted us to not have quite so many signs, because shortly after we started the vigil, Concepcion and I had kind of a sign war. And other people came in, and they were painting and building signs, and they stretched all over the park in 1984 and 1985. So in 85, they wrote 4 different versions of a regulation, which they passed, and on April 4th, 1986, which was the anniversary of beloved Martin Luther King's death. I thought that was a bad day to choose. They took our big signs away, arrested a few people, and we were only allowed to have 2 signs per demonstrator. You had to be within 3 feet of the signs. The signs could be no larger than 4 feet by 4 feet by 1/4 inch, and no higher off the ground than 6 feet. You had to have a good sturdy base for it so it didn't blow over in the wind. And that's what we lived with. And so people would come and relieve us to do things that we needed to do. It's not been just Thomas and Concepcion or just Thomas. When Thomas started his vigil, it was an outgrowth of the Community for Creative Nonviolence Reaganville in 1981. And he had been volunteering with Reaganville, helping the homeless, and he decided that he had come back to the United States against his will because he decided to be a world citizen. And they didn't like that, so they shipped him home, and he came down to D.C. to do something about it. And he decided...
Mitch Snyder.
With Mitch Snyder, yeah.
I know Mitch Snyder. I was at Second and D shelter.
They were good people. They are good people, yeah. So when Reaganville happened, Thomas just liked the idea of staying there. They did have tents, actually, which led to the camping regulation. He wanted to talk to people about something more than homelessness, because homelessness is a sign of very bad policies, and he wanted to talk about those policies and what we were going to do about it. So I am so grateful to you for being here for the 45th anniversary of the Antinuclear Vigil in front of the White House, and I am so grateful to Philipos and Craig and Joe and all those who have kept the vigil going for the past decade after Connie died. We expected it to be there till she died, but you've kept it going all this time. So now I'm going to let Joe. Why don't you come talk?
I was at the vigil at the time.
So basically, I've been coming to the White House since Nixon was president, 1970 during the Vietnam War. So that's my first memory. And there was about 300,000 people in that Lafayette Park, elbow to elbow. If you can imagine that many people at one time, and there was army was in front of us. They were shooting tear gas at us. So from time to time, I would come down to the White House for whatever the demonstration was, women's rights or environmental rights or gay rights or whatever. You know, I was an activist. And so in '81, the demonstration of Thomas for anti-nuclear started. And I became just friends with Thomas, and then eventually friends with Concepcion and Ellen and Philipos. And I would basically give them a break to go to the bathroom or go take a shower, you know, or do you want a coffee or something like that? Maybe sit 45 minutes down there in the chair, you know, because it has to be manned 24 hours a day. So I became attached very closely, you know, with the passing of Thomas, the passing of Concepcion. And as Ellen was saying, like, we thought it would go just to when Concepcion was alive, but then once she passed away, that was probably the end of the vigil. But I came down with some flowers to put at the vigil after she passed away in January of '16. And I said, what's going on? The tent's still down there, you know, the canopy's still there. And there was a man in a wheelchair. And I said, hi, I'm Joe Brown. Who are you? He says, I'm Philipos Melaku-Bello. I said, well, how have I been part of this vigil over the decades? I don't even know you. He says, well, I do the nights. So that solved the problem. And he worked during the nights, and it was Ellen and Concepcion and Thomas did the daytime. So I was going to talk about Philipos more. Where did he go?
The police were looking at his car.
Oh, okay. So anyway, it's been a wonderful experience. The community down there, all the people that brought us food and bring us a few donations, and all the celebrities. We get to see all the major demonstrations that get through the park, you know, for whatever. You know, Venezuela, I can remember, was a big one. Haiti was a big one. You know, anything against the wars that this country gets into. And it's just amazing that the people that we see from every country in the world, they come to us. We don't have to go to China or India or Japan. They come to us. So we got to meet all these wonderful people from all around the world by sitting down there at the vigil. And so now Philipos has returned.
Okay, I knew William before that the vigil started. My father knew who he was in the 70s, and a couple times he went to the protests we were doing in San Onofre, California. They call it the Nuclear Tits. That's what the San Diego residents call San Onofre Nuclear Protests. We also were going to Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Rockwell, Boeing. They all had military-industrial complex contracts on the El Segundo Aviation Corridor, which the beginning of it starts only about 1.5 miles from LAX. And we still do that now. We're doing that. They also have headquarters in Roslyn. The ACA is on North Washington and Cameron Street. They're the ones that give the logistics for ICE and where ICE will be operating. So now we're a mobile unit, and Ellen goes to many places, and I still do within the DC Beltway the things I'm going to do, but also because of the world that we're in today, a cell phone isn't the size of 2 bricks, and the cell phone can now do video and photos, like what Echo is doing right now. We didn't have that. We had to go to college campuses literally with 20,000 flyers going to UCLA, USC, LA City College, El Camino, Compton campus, and Torrance campus, throughout LA County, throughout Orange County, doing the footwork of having to hand out the flyers on the nuclear industry, on world peace. Some of them were ideas that I was passing on, as Ellen now passes on the great ideas on the nuclear industry. that were not even my original ideas, but
Hey, sir.
because they were ideas of
Is your car on?
no.
It's not.
It should be. My keys on.
It's on you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's not on.
I'll take care of it. So then that's how I was first involved with the anti-plutonium industry, but because I was raised by good parents. Because my father was anti-atomic, and in '52, in March of '52.
You can talk later, yeah. We don't want you to lose your car here. All right, is there anyone else who has anything that you'd like to say? We'd like to say that we would like the police to go get lunch. And have a nice lunch.
Take a break. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, since everybody that's wanted to talk has talked, I will hang up, and God bless you all.